Hi guys, and welcome to the Fuzzy Love Nuts podcast. I'm Nina, and you can find me on Instagram as N LaFontaine or on Ravelry as Fuzzy Love Nuts. And we have a group for the podcast. If you go to the group section on Ravelry and search Fuzzy Love Nuts, that's where you'll find it. So I'm so happy that you guys are here to hang out with me today, and welcome back for those of you who have watched before, and welcome to all of you first-time viewers. This is episode number 3, and yeah, I have the windows closed today because the construction, I'm filming a little bit earlier, and the construction's still kind of going on. And I live a few, like about half a block from the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and currently some of their employees are on strike. So they have like horns and whistles and drums and shouting and things, and they do it like business hours. So like from like 8 in the morning, not kidding, like 8:01 it starts, and then like 4 o'clock usually it'll stop, and then they take a break somewhere in the middle for lunch. And it's so loud, and it's been going on it started like a week and a half ago. So every day for all day, not all day, but from 8 to 4, there's like a band, like a marching band with loudspeakers. That's all I hear all day. So they stopped early today, and I don't know why. So I thought, I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to seize the opportunity and take advantage and film. But I have the windows closed in case they decide, like they faked me out and they decided to start back up again. Because they have those like, what are they called? Vuvuzelas, those like giant plastic horn things that you see like these like the football games and stuff. And they're so loud. They're just so loud. And they have whistles and full-on drums, and they have like a sirens machine and whatever. I mean, good that they're on strike. Stand up for yourself, but not for 2 weeks every day. Yeah. So today's drink it's an iced tea. It's the Trader Joe's mango black tea. And I really love it. And when I went to the States this last July, I forgot to bring some home. So my mom will be getting an email, hopefully to send me a couple boxes of it. Because I really like it. I don't like it hot. I like it only iced. So I make like a big pitcher of like iced tea concentrate, and I stick it in the fridge, and then I have iced tea. I love iced tea. Okay, so that's that. So today, I don't have a whole ton to show you guys because I don't know why. I just don't. But it's still gonna be chatty because a lot of you were wondering about Chile and Santiago. So, since I don't have a whole ton to show you, I'll just talk at you instead. Because I think that works. I didn't get any specific questions. So I think that I'll just kind of like waffle on, as Tilly Trout would say. I'm just going to waffle on about Santiago and stuff. Yeah. And then I have a co-host today. So this is my Sherlock Holmes meerkat that I talked about last week. So a few of you wanted to see him more up close. So his legs and tail and arms are all wired. So he can stand up on his own. Well, with the aid of his tail, he stands up. And he has his little violin and bow. And those are all separate. I kind of have it pinned to him with his bow. And then his, you know, magnifying glass and pipe. And he has his little hat with his ear flaps and everything. And a cravat. He has a cravat. So he's just so cute. And the clothes are actually like clothes. And his pants. Like I could take all of his clothes off if I wanted to, which I don't. But yeah. So Mr. Sherlock Meerkat will be here keeping me company. Staring at me with his little beady eyes. Which I think is pretty hilarious. Okay, so what is on the needles? Well, I'm going to start with a finished object because it's the only thing that I have finished this week, and it's my black hat. I finished it. I really like it. I really like it because I really like the yarn that I made it with. I made it. Let me get the yarn out. I made it with the Abuelita 3-ply lace. It's merino. This part's the non-dusty part, so I'll show you that. And it's black, you know. That's how much I have left. You know, good amount for some like stripes or color work or something. And I didn't weigh it yet, so I don't know how much yardage it took. I cast it off the other day. I was determined. I was like, I want to get this hat done. So I just knit on it for like 2 days straight and was like, knit nothing but the hat. So that's done. I didn't follow a pattern for the hat. I made up my own pattern. So what I did was I did like 2.5 inches of ribbing. And I knit these on my 3mm carbons. Oh, let me get my needle gauge. I don't know where it is. Oh, here's my needle gauge. I'll tell you what that is in the US. 3mm carbons. 3 is a US size 2.5. So I knit about 2.5 inches 2x2 rib. And then I knit this broken, I guess technically it would be like a broken seed stitch. It's just a knit and purl texture. I think it's a knit 3 purl 1 is what it is. And I did that. And then I decreased it. And then in the decreases, you know, it's hard to do that in pattern. But I just kind of did it as much as I could. And then I just did, I think I decreased, I did a knit 2 together every, I don't know, every 10 stitches or something like that. So here's what the crown looks like. And then I did it till I had whatever left on, and then I just pulled the tail through the remaining stitches and wove them in. I'll put it on for you guys. And I blocked it. You know, it's all blocked and washed and everything. Even though there still has fuzz on it. I don't know how it has, it's black, so it has fuzz on it. So, oh, I have bobby pins in my hair, so it might sit kind of funny. But, there. So I really like it because it's, the drape on this is like really, really good. This is like the perfect amount of drape for me for a hat. So it, you know, I could pull it down and cover my ears if I want, or I can kind of like, you know, just have it. It's just just the right amount of slouch. Nothing crazy. It's not like a foot long and then, you know. Yeah. And I like that, you know, right here you can really see the texture. I like that it's just not plain stockinette, because when oh no, the bobby pins! The bobby pins! No, that's not too bad. Okay. Because when something's just plain stockinette, I don't know, not that there's anything wrong with plain stockinette, because I'm knitting a featherweight, for goodness sake. It's like nothing but stockinette. But, on a hat, I feel like it's so simple to, you know, add cables or just do something. So it's almost a shame when a hat is just in plain stockinette. That's, I guess, what I'm saying. Okay, so that's my finished item. I did write everything down for the hat, so I could actually write a pattern for it if I wanted to. And it smells like woolly goodness. And but if you have any questions, I don't have a project page for it up on Ravelry yet because I didn't take pictures of it yet. And I really hate posting a project page if I don't have pictures for it. So I will take pictures as soon as I can, and I will put that up on Ravelry. But if you have questions about it, just let me know. PM me, put it in the comments, message me on Instagram, anything like that. So there's that guy. And I like that it's lightweight. I mean, my head, I get so hot with all this frizzball hair that it's just, I don't need a big huge-o hat all the time. I mean, sometimes I like a puffy hat, but I don't need like a huge hat with ear flaps or something, you know? Okay, so that's that. Something else I'm working on is the featherweight. So here's my featherweight. If I can get it out of the bag, if it's cooperating. Okay, so this bag, this is funny. So here, I don't know how it is anywhere else, but here it's kind of common sometimes that, like, when you buy a pajama set, sometimes it comes in like a bag of its own. Or like, I've seen this in the States, sometimes like sheet sets, like jersey sheet sets for your bed come in like a little jersey drawstring bag. Okay, so this, my project bag, because I don't have like proper project bags. I have like, I made myself a few bento bags because I saw them on Fringe Association, and I really wanted them. But she was like out of the ones that I wanted at the time. I think she's all in stock now. And, you know, the whole shipping thing. And I just was like, oh, I really want some bento bags. So I went to the shop and bought linen and figured it out and made my own. I'll show you the bento bag in a minute when I get the other project out. But this is just like one of those jersey, it's just like, you know, cotton drawstring bag that my husband's pajamas came in. Which I think is hilarious. But it's a good size, you know, it's not too big. It's like a good medium project bag. Once the sweater gets a lot more length on it, though, I might have to leave this bag. So I have my little row counter in there. And this is the yarn I'm knitting the featherweight out of. It's a natural colored merino, single ply, lace weight, Abuelita again. And it's like an oatmeal color. I don't know if you'll be able to see. I'll try to get it. There. You can see it's like off-white with like bits of like a brown, like a morit in there. So that's why it's an oatmeal color. And I'm knitting it on my 4mm US 6 carbons fixed cable circulars. Okay, this guy is grown. It's okay. So I know last time I showed it. I said I was 10 rows away from separating the arms, but I lied. I wasn't 10 rows away. I was 10, well, closer to 15. I was too optimistic. I think I had another set of numbers from the pattern like stuck in my head. But I was 15 repeats, because you do, you know, a knit and purl together is a repeat. Knit and purl row together is a repeat. Away from splitting for the arms. So now I'm actually like 2 repeats. So I'm 4 rows away from splitting for the arms. So tonight I might split for the arms. So let me see if I can, I'll separate this out. So here is one of the arms. And here's the progress. I put the progress keeper on it for y'all. So that's how much I've done this week on the good old featherweight. But, you know, I can't spread her out because she's on a circular and I don't want the stitches to go flying. But I held her up, like, because I'm dumb. I went like this the other day. I went like, oh, I'll go like this. And I'll measure, like, just to see how it's going. How's it going? How you doing, Miss Featherweight? Is everything looking okay? And everything looks good. Like, the seams are going where they should be going. And the front looks like it's... I was kind of afraid that this front part wouldn't be wide enough. I still am a little... I think what I'll end up... So that looks good. So I think what I'll end up doing is... The pattern says that the shawl collar... Well, it's not even really a shawl collar. It's like a button band that doesn't have buttons on it. That, you know, goes up into a collar. It's like 1.5 inches. You're supposed to knit like 1.5 inches. And I think I'll make it more like a shawl collar. I think I'll knit it more like 2.5 inches. Or 3 inches. Of plain stockinette. And then let the edge kind of like curl up on itself. So that's my featherweight. I will be really excited when I can divide the arms off. Because that's 74 stitches per arm. You know, 148 stitches that I don't have to knit on it. Stockinette. Stockinette's just kind of boring sometimes. I was thinking about putting like some lace at the bottom. So, let me know what you think about that. Putting just like a little bit of a lace panel at the back and the bottom. Yeah. Let me know. I'd like to know your thoughts on that. Okay, so here's the bento bag that I made. I think I showed it in episode 1. But, okay, so my seamstress skills are not immaculate or anything. They're kind of... I'm not the best seamstress. But, yeah, so here's the bag. It's just linen. It's a good medium-sized bag. Like, I've put huge, huge, huge shawls in here. And right now I have 3 of these 50-gram balls of yarn. My sock, which is what I'm about to show you. And a notions pouch in here. And it all fits, like, perfectly fine. Okay, so here's the sock. The sock is for my husband. That's just so I know what's the front. It's a little pearl. Yeah. The yarn I'm using is 50% fine alpaca is what it says. Lana fina de alpaca. And 50% fine sheep's wool. Lana fina de oveja. And You can definitely feel the wool in it. I wouldn't knit a shawl or neck warmer or scarf or anything that I had to have on my neck on it. It'd be okay for like a sweater or mittens or something like that. But I think for socks it'll be really nice. It has like this fuzzy kind of halo. Nothing too crazy, but you know, you can see the alpaca in it. And yeah, so I'm knitting it's a little bit, that's a good color representation. And then the toes are this guy. And the heels will be the gray as well. And it's you know, here, okay, so this kind of, here they never give the weight, I mean, the size of the yarn. And a lot of times they don't give yardage either. They almost never give yardage. It's very common to just see like, oh, it's a 100-gram ball or it's a 50-gram ball, and then you have no idea on yardage. And that kind of drives me crazy because then you really end up overbuying or underbuying on yarn. And here it's very common that you go back and you never see the yarn that you purchased in the store ever again. So when you buy something, you need to make sure you have enough, you know. So you end up having extra yarn because you have to buy extra. Yeah, so I have no idea on how many meters or yards this has. The gauge swatch that it has on here, I don't think is correct. And it says to knit with 4.5 millimeter needles, which puts this in like worsted category. But I'm knitting them on 3 millimeter carbons. No, yes, 3 millimeter carbons. And, you know, the fabric looks good. It's a little bit stretchy, but it's still like a nice dense fabric. I think the socks should be pretty dense. Like, the more the sock stretches and stuff, it's going to get, like, stretched out and stuff. Like, as I'm knitting this, I can only knit it for so long at a time because I can feel it's a little tough to knit because I can feel like the needle is a little bit smaller than it should be. Yeah, but that's this. Those are the socks. These guys will probably get the heel line put in tonight because I'm going to do the afterthought heel. That's my preferred heel method for socks because I know that the heel takes 2 inches. And for socks, it's so easy to make them ill-fitting. Like, it's so easy to make them so they don't fit someone. And as long as you know their shoe size or how long their foot is, then you can always make someone a sock that fits them because then you just, the length of their foot minus 2 inches, put the heel line in, done. Because there's no gusset, there's no anything, and the heel always fits, and for me, it sits so nice on the heel. And I tend to go, so when I cast on my toes, I do a Judy's Magic cast on. I find that works the best for me. And I usually cast on half my total stitches because I don't like a super pointy toe. So, usually with socks I do 64 stitches total, so 32 on each needle, on each side. And so then I would cast on 16 on each needle. So I get a little bit of a wider toe, like a more of a boxier toe. And especially for like my husband, if he can't wear the pointy toe ones because it squishes his toes in. And so when I do the heel, a lot of people like to do equal distance, like what they did for the toe. But I would bring the heel in a little bit more. I'll probably decrease on the heel until I get to like 13. No, less than that. 10 maybe. Yeah. So that's these guys. Well, the one guy, the sock. The one sock. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I have sad news about my canopy shawl. So, remember this, let's flash back to last week, and we can remember this gorgeous yarn that I bought for my canopy, and how excited I was to cast it on. Like, so excited to cast it on, right? Beautiful, kind of like muted forest greens, and silvery taupes. And then there's like these like darker kind of chocolatey taupe in there. Okay, so pretty, right? Yeah. So, it's a lace weight. I've knit with this yarn before, so I'm very familiar with... Sorry, I'm talking and getting so thirsty. Okay, so I'm very familiar with, you know, how it knits up and the drape and all that. And usually I would knit it on a 3mm needle. But I think I want my canopy more loose and a little bit more drapey, which means I need a 3.5. And that just makes me sad because I was stupid and didn't buy the 3.5 carbons when I should have. I feel so dumb. Like, I felt dumb the second that I told my husband I didn't need them. Like, we were in the store, and I was like, no, I don't need them. I'm going to wait till I have a project. 3 seconds later, of course, I had 2 projects lined up in my brain that I need them for, and I didn't buy them. So, tomorrow, on the way back from something I'll talk about later, I'll get them. And hopefully tomorrow night, my canopy, my dear sweet canopy, will be cast on. I hope so. Because it just makes me sad. Because I've been looking at that yarn all week. I've been looking at it, and I've been like, okay, so I haven't really been snuggling it. I've been wanting to snuggle it. Because it's so squishy and, like, so, like, lovely. And I know it's going to be the perfect fall, autumn shawl. I know it. I know I'm going to live in that thing. So, yeah. So there's that. But good news, some good news, is I found a pattern for the lamb. Well, I found a pattern that I think I can fudge around for the lamb. Okay, so here's the plan. The plan is to use this really cute toy lamb pattern by Fuzzy Mittens. It's the Fuzzy Lamb pattern. It's a free pattern. I think it's a free pattern. I don't remember. Pretty sure. Here's what the little lammy looks like. Oh my gosh, guys. Look at that face. I love everything about it. I love the little face. I love the floppy ears. I like the shape of the body. The contrasting colors, everything. Okay, so, and it's 20 centimeters tall, which is like, I think it's about the size, like the size of my head. I don't know. It's pretty tall. So, I'm going to definitely use this pattern for the head. And I'm going to use the pattern for the body as a guideline. And the arms and legs as guidelines also. Because I haven't decided if I want my lammy to be like sitting up or flopped on her tummy or what. I think I want her to like be sitting on her bum and like be sitting up like this. That's what I think. But I think that face is just like such a sweet face and just so adorable. And I love it. And when I was looking through all these toy sheep patterns, the thing the thing I didn't like about most of them was their faces. Not necessarily the construction method or how they were put together, like where their arms were and the proportions and stuff. It was their faces and the way that their heads were and stuff. You know, I just didn't like them. But that one, I saw that one. Maybe my husband found it. I don't remember. But I saw it and I just was like, yes, I think that's the one I want to do. My husband's so sweet. Sometimes I say something and he just, like, goes and, like, searches for it without me even, like, saying anything. Okay, so let's talk about some spinning. I want to show you guys some spinning because I went a little crazy this week. Okay, so I finished up a whole package. So I have this much on my spindle now. And I'm spinning even finer, which is, I should be trying to maintain consistency, but I didn't. And I got so caught up with, ooh, look at my control, that I just was like totally not paying attention. But it's okay. It's so pretty. I feel like that little girl in Despicable Me. It's so fluffy, but it's so pretty. So I'm really happy about it. I've been spinning every day for tons of time. I have an improvised yarn bowl here with my fiber in it. And what I've been doing is I've taken the package of fiber and I've opened it and I've just taken the tube of roving and just split it in half. And then I draft from half. And then when that's done, and then I wind it off the top and then onto a toilet paper roll. And then until I'm ready to apply it. And then that way I can just spin again. Because once I've done about half of it, I find like I start breaking my fiber and I can feel that the spindle's heavier. It doesn't spin for as long and stuff like that. So, yeah. So I spun that. That's on my spindle now. And I spun all this. And this is like 40 grams. And then I plied a whole bunch of it. I plied 75 grams. And washed it. And dried it. And skeined it up. So I have totally done, finished yarn to show you guys. So what I did was I chain plied this because I really, okay, so with hand spun yarn, sometimes I really like the whole barber pulling effect when you have a 2-ply that are two totally different colors and you stripe them together. I really like that sometimes. And sometimes I feel like, you know, you buy a braid or you buy fiber and it's dyed in this really pretty gradient, and sometimes it just really needs to be spun in that gradient. And you need to maintain that because that's how you fell in love with the colors, right? So for this, I chose to chain ply it because I wanted to maintain that gradient. So it's 75 grams total, but because of the way I've been taking it off and plying it, I have one little skein. They're not minis technically, I guess. So one that's 25 meters and one that's 30 meters. So here's the one that's 25 meters. This is making it look a lot more overall red than it is. Like there, that's better colors, so you can kind of get the idea. But there it is, all plied up. And this is the first plying, the first one I plied. I posted a picture of this on Instagram before I skeined it. And then here's the second one I plied. And you can just tell that it's just plied better. Like this is just so much better. So pretty. And everything's done and plied on my spindle, my drop spindle. I'll open it up so you can see everything that way. It smells so good. So, there has to be a better way to, like, for you to see this. There. Ha! There you go. You can see the colors a little bit better. So, when I was spinning this, initially, I mean, like, I would be so happy if it all was this, you know, this weight. Like this. But it's not. So let me find a really fat piece. Here's a really fat piece. Okay. So here's, like, the range of thickness. Which is quite a bit, you know. But, so this is like, oh, this piece right here is just, it's perfect. This piece right here is perfect. I love it. I love it so much. I'm so happy with it. I was plying it, and I had this huge grin on my face, and my husband was working, so he wasn't really paying attention to me. Because when he works, because he's a translator. I think I mentioned that before. He's a translator, and so he'll get a document, and he translates it from either Spanish to English or English to Spanish. And so he was working, and so a lot of times he has headphones in because he works from home. So he'll have headphones in, and I have a podcast on or a craftsy class or something going on. So we're kind of both in our own little worlds, you know. And but he had his headphones in, and he looked over at me, and he could just tell I was so happy with how this was turning out. So it showed. It showed. The joy shows. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. So, I don't have a nitty naughty. And one of the gals in the group, oh my gosh, I cannot remember what your name is. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. One of the gals in the group recommended getting some PVC, like going to the hardware store and getting some PVC. And you just, you know, you cut a length. And then that's a certain length. I mean, I can do the math. It's not hard. And then you cut 2 other sizes, and then you can fit them on and make your own nitty-nutty. But here, we can't, because of the whole earthquake, with the way earthquakes are here, PVC isn't widely used because we use a much more flexible piping here. So I can't really do that. We have harder plastic pipe and stuff, but not in the length that's cuttable and usable for me to do that. But so what I did to faux nitty naughty these was I used my my weaving shuttle stick thing. This guy that I got. Because it's 1/2 meter long. So one wrap around is 1 meter. And since I'm doing such small things, you know, it's not like a big deal to like wrap it and unwrap it. And I used it to set the twist, gave it a little bath with it on, took it off, wound it onto my Swift, tied it, and then hung it on a hanger to dry. And it was dry in like a couple hours. And it was done. So I'm so happy about that. So happy about that. Okay, so package time. Package time. Okay, so people, you guys apparently think that me coming up with a stupid jingle for top 3 is a good idea. And I don't know if I want to, like, I want to commit to doing that. Because it's, I don't know. I think maybe I'll just spaz out when I feel the need to spaz out. Is that okay? Like I just did with the package time. I think that's pretty good. Package time. Maybe every time I get a package, that'll be the package time jingle. Okay, I'm okay with that one. Package time. I still have to come up with the top 3, though. Okay. So, I participated in the Buckaloo View Mystery Hat Swap. And this took place in February. And this was the first swap that I'd ever done. And I was so excited about it. And, because like I said, something I committed to myself for this year was to really just get more involved and meet more people and, you know, stuff. So, I signed up, like, right away. The second I saw that Liesl posted that swap, I was like, boom, yes, swap. Consider me swap. So, I signed up, and I really liked doing it. I thought it was so much fun. And I sent off my swap package, and I got my swap package. So I'm going to show you what my swap partner, Jamie, sent me. So, first thing that she did that I thought was so cool, I don't know why I never thought of this, but she included in the package the tag for the yarn with just a little swatch of the yarn. And I thought that was so genius because, you know, what if I really like the hat and I really like how it's wearing and I want to buy the yarn? So I think that that's brilliant. So yay. Go Jamie. And she also included some of these super cute little stitch markers. And I've never had schmancy stitch markers before. I always just use the clover ones, like either the flexible ones or the locking stitch markers. The flexible ones are awesome. But I feel so special now that I have some like sparkly, fancy stitch markers. So these and the colors will go perfect with the canopy shawl. So I cannot wait to cast on my canopy shawl and use my stitch markers. And then here's the hat that she sent me. So I listed that I like the, you know, Melody's mandarins, pine cone, and mulberries hat pattern. Because I've been wanting to knit one of those for myself, like, since it came out. And I'm lame and just haven't. So, I put on the swap page that that's what I like. So that's what she knit me. And it came out so beautiful. And I love the yarn. It's totally something that I picked for myself. I'll put it on. Ugh, bobby pins, but I'll put it on. It fits perfect, Jamie, if you're watching. It's just like awesome. It's awesome. I love the detail. The stitch definition on it is great. I like that it's, you know, a slouchy kind of toque-ish thing, but it's not too slouchy, and it doesn't, like, you know, sometimes hats stick up like that, and then it's like, what you gonna do? No. So, it's perfect. It's like the perfect size and everything. It's just way too hot for right now. But I can't wait till it gets cooler and I can wear it. And so thank you, Jamie, so much. I'm so excited. I really hope that you love your hat as much as I loved making your hat for you. So, thank you so much for that. And then also, Buckaloo View, Liesel, is hosting a spring swap. By the time that this uploads, I think sign up might be over for it. But, of course, I saw that and was like, sign up for that right away. And it's just, little hand knit thing. Think of spring, whatever is springy, which is, we're going into fall, but that's fine. I'm down with that. Springy. So if you have any suggestions, this is not a mystery swap, but if you have any suggestions for patterns that are kind of springy or fall-ish, because I need patterns for myself too. Anything that you're loving right now, just let me know. Because I would love that. And then, yeah. I want more tea. Okay. So let's talk about chili. So something that somebody asked specifically, and I'll talk about this first. Somebody asked specifically how the knitting scene was here. And so in the States, the whole crafting thing is very abundant. And in the UK and just generally in Europe, handmade is valued. And, if you have a business or if you make things by hand, it's very much considered like a craft. And you can work on improving it and show genuine craftsmanship, And here it's just not like that. Here people knit out of necessity. And they knit, it's a lot of mostly older people knitting. And they don't see it as a skill or as an art form. They're just like, oh, you're making a sweater. That's nice. And so it's kind of, sometimes it's a little odd. But other knitters and other, people who have this, there are people who have the same mentality. That knitting and hand making is a craft. But it's just, it's on the rare side. It's not like a general value. So, because of that, it's not very common. You don't have yarn shops, a lot of yarn shops. You don't have a lot of craft meetups or craft fairs or stuff like that. So it's really difficult sometimes to get a hold of materials. And it's also kind of frustrating sometimes to find resources that are local to you. But something really cool happened. Okay, so my mother-in-law, she has a friend, and she came over for lunch a couple months ago. And I happened to be knitting a shawl for my mom at the time. And we were all sitting, talking, and, so I got my shawl out to work on it. And she saw it and was like, oh, shawl! And she knits. And so then we started talking about knitting and stuff, and she just got a loom. And she's so sweet. Her name's Christina. She's so sweet. She's just one of these people who, like, is just genuinely good-hearted. And she was like, oh, you can borrow my loom. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, I have 0 room in my room. You can't see over here for a reason. You know, like, I was like, oh, okay, like, yay, you know, but, and stuff. But long story short, she gets together with a group of ladies on Thursday night, or Thursday during the day, and embroiders. They do embroidery, which is not the same here as it is in other places. They use, like, very thick fabric with a grid. It's not quite the same. It's not, I don't know, whatever, embroidery. So, and they do it with yarn, and they have these crazy stitches and stuff. And so she invited me to the group to do that, and that's just not quite my thing. But she said, oh, well, bring your knitting or bring whatever and come. Just come. So last week I went, and it was so nice because there's all these ladies, and they're all helping each other, and half of them know what they're doing, and the other half don't. So they're all, like, you know, helping each other and stuff. And since I'm not doing that, I just came to kind of, like, hang out, and Guillermo came with me because, hello, no Spanish. So Guille's sitting there. He's so patient. He's sitting there, like, hanging out, talking with people, and all the ladies are like, what are you doing here, dude? And so I started knitting, and then I got my spindle out. I brought the spindle. Christina, like, wanted me to bring all my stuff to show them, and I just don't feel comfortable with that. So, but I brought my spindle because I thought some of them weave, and maybe they would think that was cool. So, yeah, and I really liked it. So I'm going back again tomorrow, and one of the ladies, Marcela, she weaves, and she wanted to learn how to spin. So she said, I don't know if she'll have it all this week, but she said she was going to go get stuff. Like, she was going to get a spindle, and she was going to go get fiber, the same place that I get my stuff from. And I'm going to teach her how to spin. You know, I'm not, like, an expert or anything. I just started. But, you know, I can at least teach her what I know. And so that's why this is not plied up yet, because I want to show her, like, the stages. So I have my secondary spindle. This is my first one. And then, so I can show her how to start it. And then I have my other spindle that I'm already working on, so I can show her how to draft and the different ways to draft and stuff. Which really, if you're on a drop spindle, you're really only drafting, like, short backwards draft. But that's okay. And then that way I can apply this I'll apply this tomorrow when I show her how to chain ply. So that way, even though she's not going to be applying for a while, but that way she can, like, see how to apply and have an idea of it in her head. So that'll be really fun. So that's that. And, this is kind of getting long. So maybe we'll break up the chili thing into next week. And we'll only talk about that part of it today. I think that's better. Yeah, that's better. But I'll go into my top 3. I'll do top 3 this week. So Amy put a top 3 thread in the group, which I think is just brilliant. So that way you guys can answer the top 3 question for the week for yourselves. So I think that that's just great. Kudos, Amy, for doing that. That's great. So I really would love it if you all would participate in that and do that, because I really love seeing, like, just learning more about people. That sounded really awkward, but I do. I really love learning about people and learning about, you know, different places and stuff. So this week's top 3 is things that I love about my neighborhood. Okay, so number 3 is I live in a kind of like financial business district of Las Condes. And okay, that sounds really weird, but the reason why I love this is that on the weekends, there's nobody around. And it took a lot of getting used to, because when I first moved, I went out on like a Saturday, and it was like the apocalypse happened, and nobody was out. And it was just like really odd to see that. But now I really like it, because on the weekends it's like super quiet, and it means that, you know, you get no noise until people are at work, and then when people go home from work, there's like no noise. It's really quiet. The number 2 thing I really like about my neighborhood is that it's a really family-oriented area. So on the main street is where all the like high-rise bank buildings are and everything, and office buildings and all that. And then like a block in from the main street, it's all residential. And there's parks like crazy, and all the sidewalks are, no, this sounds silly, but they're all really well maintained. And everything's green. There's flowers everywhere, and there's just like families everywhere. And I like that because, you know, that means it's a nice place to live. That means that people want to have their families around, you know. And that also means that there's a less chance for crazy party people, which I'm not a fan of. Living in Santa Barbara in like a college town for 6 years is like totally has me over the crazy party people. Okay, so the number 1 thing I really like about my neighborhood is that I'm super close to everything. So I have like 3 bakeries within a block of me. I have a patisserie right across the street. You can tell what's on my mind right now. I'm like, ooh, sweets. I have 1 street over is like nothing but restaurants. There's 2 Starbucks and another coffee place right there. It's like America right by my house. There's an Applebee's right down the street from not that I like Applebee's necessarily, but that's the point I'm trying to make, is that like full of stuff. Post office is right across the street that way. The supermarket and the largest mall in the country is 10 minutes walking from the house. That's where we do our supermarket shopping most of the time. And it's, you know, everything's super easy to get to. Pharmacy's right at the end of our block, the drugstore, and everything's super easy to get to. So we walk everywhere, which is really nice. Closest yarn store, though, is about half an hour walking. That's a bit much. I like that to be closer. But I really love everything about my neighborhood. Like, we've been toying with the idea of moving, but then we're really spoiled, and we don't want to move outside of our area. Like, we're like, okay, we can move, but we have to move within this street to this street, because that means we're still, like, here, you know? There's a park right across the street. Everything's, like, really awesome right where we are. So, yeah. So that's my top 3. So I would love to hear your top 3 things that you like about your neighborhood in the Ravelry thread, in the group. It'd be great. Or you can, you can put it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. That would be good, too. So I think that's it, guys, for this week. Thank you for everybody who's watching. Seriously, I didn't know if people would watch or what, and then I looked on YouTube the other day, and I have like 25 subscribers, which is way more than I don't know. So that's awesome. So thank you. Thank you, guys. Hi, guys. And video number 2 has like 85 views, and I don't know, people are watching. So that's nice. That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I don't know, I think that's it. I think I always say that. Okay, that's it. So, I'll see you guys next week. And hopefully I'll cast on my canopy. And I would love to see what you guys are working on. And I'd love to have you guys in the group. So you can find me on Instagram as NLaFontaine. And you can find me on Ravelry as Fuzzy Love Knots. And you can join the Ravelry group, the Fuzzy Love Knots Ravelry group also. We'd love to have ya. Ha! And have a good week, guys. And happy knitting!